Hey everyone, welcome back to Football Player Success Stories. Today, we're diving into the incredible journey of Lionel Messi, the boy from Rosario who became football's greatest genius. From overcoming growth problems as a child to conquering Barcelona, leading Argentina to World Cup glory, and rewriting the history books, this is the story of pure talent, quiet determination, and a legacy that will never fade. So sit back and enjoy the full story of Lionel Messi, his rise, his glory, and his lasting legacy in the world of football. And if you enjoy today's video, don't forget to subscribe, drop a like, and share this documentary with other football fans. It really helps the channel grow, and we've got plenty more legendary stories on the way.
Football's history is rich with brilliance, but few stories begin in such modest surroundings. Lionel Andrés Messi was born on 24 June 1987 in Rosario, Argentina, a river port city whose charm rests in its grit and heart. His father, Jorge, worked at a steel factory. His mother, Celia, balanced part-time cleaning jobs while raising 4 children in a small house in the working-class barrio of La Bajadas. They were humble people, devoted to each other and above all to football. From the moment he could walk, Lionel was drawn to a ball. His grandmother Celia, the person he would later point to every time he scored, spotted the gift before anyone else. She would take the shy, thin boy to local training sessions at Grandoli Club and plead with coaches to let him play against the older kids. They hesitated. He was smaller, almost frail. She insisted. Once he touched the ball, the hesitation vanished. The little left-footer darted between bigger children, balance perfect, dribbling as if gravity itself obeyed him. By 5, he was the team's standout. At 8, he joined Newell's Old Boys, one of Rosario's proudest clubs. He was tiny compared with his peers, yet untouchable. Coaches recall that he would dribble past entire teams, wait for defenders to catch up, then do it again, smiling. Fans began turning up just to watch La Pulga, the flea nickname born of his size and quickness. But while his talent was unearthly, his body betrayed him. At 10, he stopped growing. Doctors diagnosed a growth hormone deficiency. The treatment cost around $10 a month, a fortune to a working-class family. His father's steel plant insurance covered part, but not all. For a time, neighbors and local benefactors donated funds. Yet it became clear, without help, Lionel's career might end before it began. A chance across the ocean word of the small prodigy reached scouts from Buenos Aires and beyond. River Plate showed interest, but hesitated over the medical costs. Then, through family connections, a tape of Messi's dribbling found its way to Spain, to a talent scout with links to FC Barcelona. The club's technical director, Carles Rixach, invited the boy and his father for a trial. In September 2000, Lionel and Jorge Messi landed in Catalonia, strangers in a new world. The trial at La Masia, Barcelona's famous youth academy, lasted just a few minutes before coaches exchanged knowing looks. His touch, his acceleration, the way he carried the ball glued to his foot, it was genius disguised in a child's frame. Still, bureaucracy loomed. Barcelona were cautious about signing a foreign minor, and there was debate over paying his medical expenses. Frustrated, Rixach famously scribbled a makeshift contract on a paper napkin. In Barcelona, on 14 December 2000, I agree to sign Lionel Messi, subject to successful tests. That napkin now rests in a museum, the beginning of a new era. Barcelona agreed to cover the treatment. The Messis moved to a small flat near the Camp Nou. Life was lonely. Celia and the siblings stayed in Rosario, while Jorge and Lionel began again in a foreign tongue. Boy hardly spoke at training, but on the pitch he communicated fluently. At La Masia, he met players who would later share his destiny: Gerard Piqué, Cesc Fabregas, Andrés Iniesta. Coaches quickly realized that Messi wasn't just gifted, he saw the game half a second ahead of everyone else. The ball seemed part of his nervous system. The breakthrough by 2003, Messi was still small, barely 5'4", but unstoppable. He tore through youth divisions, scoring at will. In November that year, at just 16, he trained with Barcelona's first team under Frank Rijkaard. Senior defenders couldn't contain him. Players like Ronaldinho and Xavi called him El Pibe Maravilla, the Wonder Boy. On 16 November 2003, in a friendly against Porto, Messi made his first team debut. He played only minutes, but left an impression. Less than a year later, On 16 October 2004, he appeared in La Liga for the first time against Espanyol. At 17 years and 114 days, he became one of Barcelona's youngest debutants. He scored his first goal the following spring, a delicate lob from a Ronaldinho assist. The Brazilian lifted him in celebration, the master welcoming the air. Rise of a genius between 2005 and 2008, Messi transformed from promise to phenomenon. His acceleration and control mirrored Maradona's, yet his personality contrasted sharply, humble, quiet, almost shy. Where Diego thrived on rebellion, Lionel radiated devotion. In 2006, he played in his first Champions League campaign and lifted the trophy, though injury limited him in the final. The next season, now wearing number 19, he produced his first masterpiece, a solo goal against Getafe so identical to Maradona's 1986 run that commentators dubbed it the goal of the century reborn. He dribbled from his own half past 6 defenders, finishing coolly. Spain gasped. Argentina celebrated. A new god had arrived. Yet physical fragility haunted him. Hamstring injuries sidelined him repeatedly. Barcelona's medical team crafted tailored programs, and Guardiola's staff later credited that period with shaping his unmatched balance and endurance. By 2008, Messi had outgrown adolescence. Ronaldinho departed, Ricard resigned, and a young coach named Pep Guardiola took charge. Guardiola recognized that Messi wasn't merely a winger, but a system unto himself. The Guardiola revolution under Pep, Barcelona rebuilt around precision, movement, and trust. False nine role, with Messi drifting centrally to orchestrate, was born. Surrounding him was Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets and Eto'o, later Pedro and David Villa. Together they created the most fluid club side in modern history. The 2008-09 season became mythology. Barcelona swept every competition, La Liga, Copa del Rey and Champions League, the historic treble. Messi scored 38 goals, including a header against Manchester United in the Champions League final. He was 21. In December 2009, he won his first Ballon d'Or, beginning an era of dominance. But beyond numbers, his play changed perception. Football could be art again. The world's best from 2010 to 2012, Messi reached heights unseen since Pelé. In 2011, Barcelona dismantled Real Madrid 5-0 and defeated Manchester United again in the Champions League final. Sir Alex Ferguson called them the best team I've ever faced. Messi's understanding with Xavi and Iniesta was telepathic. Head drifted deep to create, accelerated to finish, then celebrated modestly, eyes heavenward. Each goal a silent conversation with his late grandmother. In 2012, he shattered Gerd Muller's 40-year record, scoring 91 goals in a calendar year, a feat so absurd that statisticians recalculated data to confirm it. But glory brought burden. For all his brilliance at Barcelona, his national team career lagged behind. Argentina expected another Maradona, another World Cup. The comparison became a weight. Every Copa America defeat, every near miss was magnified. Still, at Barcelona he remained untouchable. Titles piled up, multiple La Ligas, Champions Leagues, FIFA Club World Cups. Endorsements and awards followed, yet he stayed reserved, grounded in family. He married his childhood sweetheart, Antela Riccardo, strengthening the link to his roots. By 2013 he was already a legend, but destiny had more tests in store. By the middle of 2013, Lionel Messi had conquered everything a footballer could possibly achieve, at least everything that came with a club badge on his chest. Yet for Argentina, the story remained unfinished. Every victory in Barcelona only made the comparisons to Maradona louder. The nation loved him, yes, but it also doubted him. For many Argentines, true greatness required a World Cup. Until then, Messi was brilliant but incomplete. The criticism cut deep. For a man so quiet and reserved, the scrutiny was brutal. When Argentina faltered, the press called him a Spaniard, a foreigner who'd abandoned his roots. When he scored, they accused him of lacking passion. For years, he carried the hopes of 45 million people on his back. It was not football anymore, it was identity. Yet through it all, Messi kept playing obsessively, almost spiritually. His focus remained the ball, his salvation. What words could not express, his left foot delivered instead. The rivalry that defined an era, 2009-2018, every era needs its rivalries. For Muhammad Ali there was Frazier, for Federer Nadal, for Messi there was Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo's arrival at Real Madrid in 2009 turned Spanish football into a battleground between two philosophies, artistry versus athleticism, humility versus bravado, nature versus nurture. Every week, they pushed each other to superhuman levels. Between 2009 and 2018, the two men scored over 1,000 goals combined. Every match between Barcelona and Real Madrid became a cultural event. El Clasico was no longer a game, it was mythology unfolding live. For Messi, the rivalry was fuel, not hatred. He rarely mentioned Ronaldo, preferring silence over spectacle, but his performances answered every challenge. The hat-trick at the Bernabeu in 2014, the iconic celebration holding his shirt to the crowd, was defiance without words. Under Guardiola, then Tito Villanova, Luis Enrique and Ernesto Valverde, Messi evolved from prodigy to general. He dropped deeper, orchestrating attacks like a conductor. He became not just the finisher, but the creator of everything Barcelona did. By 2015, Messi had assembled perhaps the most devastating front line in modern football, the MSN trio: Messi, Suarez, Neymar. Together they were unstoppable. They won another treble: La Liga, Copa del Rey, Champions League, with Messi scoring 58 goals in the season. The partnership blended flair, friendship and fearlessness. That same year, Barcelona's anthem seemed prophetic. Tot el camp eacuts unclam, the entire field is a cry, and it cried his name. But while the club flourished, the national team remained Messi's torment. The weight of a nation, 2010-2016, Messi's international journey was a test of endurance. At the 2010 World Cup, managed by Maradona himself, Argentina crashed out to Germany 4-0 in the quarter-final. Maradona hugged him after the match, whispering, "You're still the best." It was meant as comfort, but sounded like prophecy deferred. In 2011, Argentina hosted the Copa America, their own soil, their own fans, their own pressure. They were eliminated by Uruguay on penalties in the quarter-finals. In 2014, the World Cup returned to South America, held in Brazil. It was supposed to be Messi's time. The tournament began brilliantly. He scored in each of Argentina's first 4 matches, curling shots, weaving through defenses, leading by quiet example. Argentina advanced past Belgium and the Netherlands, reaching their first final since 1990. The opponent, again, was Germany. 90 minutes of tension, artistry and heartbreak ended with Mario Götze's extra-time volley. Argentina lost 1-0. As the Germans celebrated, Messi stood alone on the Maracana pitch, Golden Boot medal in hand, eyes vacant. He had won everything except the one thing that mattered most. In Argentina, reactions were mixed. Some saw him as a tragic hero, others unfairly as a failure. The country that once mocked him now wept with him. His tears in Rio became a national wound. 2 years later, another heartbreak followed. At the 2015 Copa America in Chile, Argentina lost on penalties to the hosts. The next year, in the 2016 Centenario edition held in the United States, history repeated itself. Another final, another defeat to Chile, another penalty shootout. Messi missed his penalty. He buried his face in his hands and wept. After the match, in the mixed zone, he spoke softly, "The national team is not for me anymore. I've tried everything." The world stopped. Argentina begged him to reconsider. Within weeks, after millions signed petitions and protests filled Buenos Aires, he returned. He simply couldn't abandon his country even if it broke him. The rebuild, loyalty and loss, 2016-2019, back in Barcelona, the golden era was shifting. Xavi had left, then Iniesta. Neymar departed for Paris. The tiki-taka symphony faded into a solo performance. Messi carried the team on his shoulders, season after season. Between 2016 and 2019, Barcelona still won league titles, but cracks appeared. Champions League heartbreaks piled up: Roma's 3-0 comeback in 2018, Liverpool's 4-0 miracle in 2019. Each defeat etched new lines of frustration across his face. The 2019 Copa del Rey final loss to Valencia marked the end of the Luis Enrique era and the start of instability. Coaches came and went. Messi remained constant, both anchor and prisoner. Off the field, his tax dispute with Spanish authorities turned into a media circus. In 2016, he and his father were convicted of tax fraud, later reduced on appeal, but the damage to his image was heavy. Rivals taunted, pundits speculated, yet he responded the only way he knew: goals. Through it all, one thing never changed: his humility. He avoided scandal, fame, politics. His interviews were brief, his private life guarded. While others built empires, Messi built memories. By 2019, he had scored over 600 goals for Barcelona, more than any player for a single club in football history. And yet, something still felt unfinished. The moment of truth, 2019-2021, the summer of 2019 brought a Copa America in Brazil. Argentina stumbled early but reached the semi-final, losing again to the hosts amid controversial refereeing. Messi's post-match fury was rare. The corruption is unbelievable. The cup is made for Brazil. CONMEBOL fined him, but Argentina loved him for speaking out. Then came the chaos of 2020, the pandemic year. Football paused. When it resumed, Barcelona was collapsing. The humiliating 8-2 defeat to Bayern Munich in the Champions League quarter-final was the club's darkest hour. For Messi, it was a breaking point. Weeks later, he shocked the world by sending a burofax illegal notice declaring his intent to leave Barcelona. For the first time, the unthinkable became real. After 20 years, he wanted out. He cited broken promises, mismanagement, and exhaustion, but Barcelona refused to release him, citing a contract clause. Rather than take his beloved club to court, Messi stayed, unwilling to destroy the place that made him. In an emotional interview he said, "I'll give everything as always, but the club lied to me." That season, he continued scoring, assisting, leading even as the institution crumbled around him. Then came a change neither he nor the fans could avoid. Barcelona's finances imploded under debt. By August 2021, even though Messi had agreed to a pay cut, the club could not register his contract under La Liga's financial rules. It was over. The farewell press conference was surreal. Surrounded by teammates, family, and tears, he stood before cameras, speech trembling. "I never imagined saying goodbye," he said. "This is not goodbye, just see you later." After 778 games, 672 goals, and 35 trophies, Lionel Messi, the boy Hakeem Nanupkin, left Barcelona. The Paris interlude, 2021-2023, he joined Paris Saint-Germain, alongside Neymar and Kylian Mbappé, forming another galaxy of stars. The move, though necessary, felt unnatural. Messi in another shirt was like a familiar song played in a different key. His first season was quiet by his standards. Injuries, adaptation, and the weight of nostalgia muted his brilliance. Critics whispered that his magic was fading, but Messi's story was never just about clubs. Fate had one last act waiting, the one that would complete the circle. By 2021, the world thought Lionel Messi's best chapters had already been written. He had scored more goals, won more trophies, and broken more records than any player before him. Yet, deep inside, one fire still burned. It was not fueled by money, fame, or awards, but by something purer. He wanted to win for Argentina. He had come close too many times. The Copa America heartbreaks, the tears in Rio, the retirement that didn't last. Each failure had etched scars on his soul, but it also hardened him. Messi in his 30s was not the same boy who wept under stadium lights. He had grown into a leader, calm, selfless, but quietly fierce. The Copa America redemption, 2021. The 2021 Copa America was different from the start. Moved from Colombia and Argentina to Brazil due to the pandemic, it carried an eerie atmosphere, empty stands, masks, and constant testing. Yet for Argentina, it became a pilgrimage, a chance to finally heal. Under manager Lionel Scaloni, the team found balance. Young talents like Lautaro Martinez, Rodrigo de Paul, and Emiliano Martinez complemented veterans like Di Maria and Otamendi. But above all, they played for Messi. In every huddle, every press conference, every moment of tension, his teammates spoke of him. "We need to win this for Leo." The early matches were steady. Messi scored free kicks, provided assists, and led by example. There was a serenity to him, as if he'd stopped fighting destiny and started flowing with it. His leadership was quieter, more fatherly. He joked with players, hugged goalkeepers, encouraged rookies. Gone was the isolated prodigy of earlier years. In his place stood a captain who united. Argentina advanced to the semi-final against Colombia. The match went to penalties. Emiliano Martinez's heroics sent them to the final, but it was Messi's bloodied ankle still playing through pain that captured hearts. He limped, grimaced, yet refused to leave the pitch. Then came the final, 10 July 2021, at the Maracana Stadium, Rio de Janeiro, the same arena where he had once cried after losing the 2014 World Cup final. Their opponent, Brazil, the home of football, the old rival. The match was tense, tactical, almost spiritual in weight. In the 22nd minute, Angel Di Maria broke through and chipped the keeper. 1-0 Argentina. For 70 agonizing minutes, Messi ran, pressed, organized, shouted, doing everything a captain should. And when the whistle blew, when victory was sealed, he fell to his knees. After 16 years, Lionel Messi had finally won a major international trophy. His teammates lifted him on their shoulders, chanting his name. The image of him smiling, teary-eyed, holding that Copa America trophy was more powerful than any of his goals. It was joy, relief, and redemption rolled into one. In Argentina, fireworks lit up the sky, streets flooded with people waving blue and white flags. They didn't just celebrate victory, they celebrated forgiveness, unity, and peace between a player and a nation. From that day, the tone changed. Messi was no longer compared to Maradona. He was embraced as Messi. His place in Argentina's heart was finally his own. The quest for eternity, 2022 World Cup, but football's gods are never done testing their chosen. For Messi, one final mountain remained, the World Cup. Qatar 2022 would be his fifth attempt, and at 35, certainly his last. Argentina arrived with momentum, unbeaten in 36 matches, reigning Copa champions, and a team that finally looked complete. Yet their opening match was a nightmare. A 2-1 defeat to Saudi Arabia stunned the world. Commentators declared Argentina finished, but within the dressing room, Messi spoke. Quietly, firmly, "We won't leave this World Cup without giving everything, trust me." His words anchored the team. Argentina responded with a 2-0 win over Mexico, Messi scoring the crucial opener. The tournament had found its rhythm, and so had he. Against Poland, Australia, and the Netherlands, he delivered masterclasses, goals, assists, leadership. In the quarterfinal against the Dutch, his pre-assist pass was a work of art, his penalty cold-blooded. But after Argentina conceded a late equalizer, chaos erupted. Players clashed, tempers flared, and Messi, usually composed, shouted toward the Dutch bench, "Que miras, Bobo? What are you looking at, fool?" It was the first glimpse of his raw human fire, the fighter within the saint. In the semi-final against Croatia, he turned conductor again. His assist to Julian Alvarez' twisting run past Gvardiol, one of the best young defenders in the world, became instant legend. Argentina won 3-0, and so the final awaited. 18 December 2022, Lusail Stadium, Argentina versus France, Messi versus Mbappé, old master versus heir apparent. The match unfolded like theatre. Messi scored a penalty. Di Maria added another. Argentina led 2-0, but with 10 minutes left, Mbappé struck twice in 90 seconds, a volley of genius followed by a penalty. Extra time, tension unbearable. Messi scored again in the 108th minute, reacting fastest to a rebound. Argentina 3-2, yet fate wasn't finished. Mbappé completed his hat-trick from another penalty, 3-3. The final went to penalties. Messi walked up first, calm, breath slow. He rolled the ball coolly into the corner. France missed. Argentina scored. And when Gonzalo Montiel buried the last penalty, the world erupted. Argentina were champions. Messi fell to his knees, surrounded by teammates, sobbing with joy. The dream, decades in the making, was complete. He lifted the World Cup trophy, kissed it, smiled at it, cradled it like a child. The boy from Rosario had reached football's heaven. In Buenos Aires, millions flooded the streets. The celebrations were biblical. Fans climbed monuments, sang through the night, painted murals across buildings. Messi generation, those who had grown up defending him through every heartbreak, finally saw their hero ascend. In that moment, he wasn't just Argentina's captain. He was the game itself. Beyond greatness, the GOAT debate after Qatar, there was no debate left. Messi had completed football. 7 Ballon d'Ors, 4 Champions Leagues, 10 La Ligas, Copa America, and the World Cup. Even his rivals bowed. Ronaldo sent congratulations. Neymar called him the greatest of all time. Mbappé, though defeated, embraced him in admiration. Yet Messi never claimed the title. Asked about being the GOAT, he shrugged. "I'm just happy I achieved my dream, that's enough." The world disagreed. Analysts, players, journalists all agreed that football had found its finest artist. What Pelé began, what Maradona embodied, Messi perfected. But for him, legacy was not about trophies. It was about love for the ball, for his family, for Argentina. The final chapters, 2023-2025. In 2023, after his contract with PSG ended, Messi made a surprising choice. He joined Inter Miami in the United States. Many expected retirement in Europe, perhaps a return to Barcelona, but he wanted calm. The American adventure was part business, part freedom. Yet even there, his magic followed. Stadiums sold out, ticket prices soared, and a new generation of fans discovered what Argentina had known for decades. His first matches were breathtaking, last-minute free kicks, assists threaded through impossible gaps, fans crying in disbelief. At 36, he still made football look effortless. Meanwhile, tributes poured in, statues unveiled, stadium murals painted, schools named after him. In Rosario, his childhood club renamed a field Campo de Leo. The circle had closed. The meaning of Messi in truth, Lionel Messi's story was never just about football. It was about time, patience, and devotion. In an age obsessed with noise, he built greatness through silence. He showed that one can dominate without arrogance, inspire without speeches, and lead without shouting. His loyalty to Barcelona, his humility in fame, his perseverance through loss all became part of the myth. When Maradona died in 2020, Messi posted a single photo with the caption, "Eternal Diego." 2 years later, as he lifted the World Cup, it was as if the torch had finally passed. For Argentina, there were now gods, one of passion and fire, one of peace and grace. The legacy lives on from Rosario's dusty pitches to football's grandest stage. Messi's journey remains a blueprint for dreamers. He taught the world that greatness isn't loud, it whispers. That genius doesn't need rebellion, it needs love. And that destiny, no matter how cruel, can still bow to persistence. He once said, "It took me 17 years and 114 days to become an overnight success." That humility defines him. In the twilight of his career, as he smiles with his sons in Inter Miami pink, one truth remains: football will never see another quite like Lionel Andrés Messi. His story isn't just about goals or glory. It's about the miracle of a boy who never stopped believing that a ball at his feet could change the world. When Lionel Andrés Messi lifted the World Cup in Qatar, the image became timeless. The light of the stadium glimmered on the gold trophy, confetti drifted through the air like falling stars, his teammates surrounded him, chanting his name. It wasn't just a victory for Argentina. It was the fulfillment of a promise one written in the dust of Rosario, nearly 4 decades earlier. Yet after the noise subsided, another story began, the story of what it all meant. For Messi, life had always been simple. Football was joy. But to the rest of us, he had become a language, a way of understanding beauty, persistence, and grace. The philosophy of simplicity, Messi's genius, has never shouted. It whispers through rhythm, timing, and geometry. In an era of celebrity and self-promotion, he seemed untouched by spectacle. He rarely granted interviews, avoided controversy, and never embraced the role of politician or preacher. When asked to describe his secret, he said, "I run less, think more." Analysts have long debated what makes him unique. Some say it's his dribbling balance, the way his center of gravity and stride frequency create an illusion of stillness amid speed. Others highlight his vision, his ability to pass into spaces that didn't exist a second earlier. Yet none of these explain the deeper truth. Messi plays as if time itself bends around him. In his prime, he moved like water, unstoppable yet gentle. While others sprinted, he glided. When defenders lunged, he paused, letting them pass. It was intuition rather than calculation, the purest form of instinct. But what truly defined him wasn't physics. It was restraint. He never humiliated opponents, never taunted. After scoring, his celebration was simple. A point to the sky, a quiet thank you to his grandmother. It wasn't marketing, it was gratitude. For Messi, football was an act of faith. The human beneath the halo behind the legend stood a man who forgot where he came from. Despite fame, wealth, and global recognition, he kept the rhythms of an ordinary life. He returned to Rosario every summer, walking the same streets, visiting childhood friends, buying pastries from local bakeries. His marriage to Antela Ricuzzo, his childhood neighbor, grounded him further. Together they raised 3 sons, Thiago, Mateo, and Ciro. To them, he was not the GOAT, but Papa. Those close to him describe a quiet humor. He plays video games with teammates, teases friends, and enjoys mate the Argentine tea before training sessions. When asked about success, he said, "I'm happiest when I see my kids smile." That humility became part of his appeal. Unlike many superstars, Messi never built a personal empire. He avoided political campaigns and celebrity feuds. He simply played for love of the ball and the people watching. The global impact: by the 2020s, Messi's influence had expanded beyond football. Across continents, his name became synonymous with excellence. In Asia, children wore his number 10 shirt to school. In Africa, fans painted murals on walls. In Europe, he redefined club loyalty. In South America, he restored faith that magic still existed. Television viewership for his matches reached billions. Economists studied the Messi effect, the measurable rise in tourism, merchandise, and sponsorship wherever he played. When he joined Inter Miami, Ticket sales multiplied tenfold. Cities adjusted traffic flow to handle crowds. Even opponents confessed they felt honored simply to share a pitch with him. Yet the truest impact was spiritual. Messi reminded people that genius can come from anywhere. A boy from a small barrio, undersized and overlooked, became the world's finest. His story resonated with dreamers, musicians, scientists, street kids, anyone who'd been told they were too small, too quiet, too different. He gave hope that talent, paired with humility and perseverance, could still triumph in a noisy world. Messi and the modern game, the sport itself, changed because of him. Barcelona's style, shaped around his instincts, influenced an entire generation. Youth academies from Manchester to Mumbai studied La Masia drills. Coaches rethought formations, seeking ways to recreate his spatial genius. Data analysts coined new metrics: expected threat, progressive carries, gravity, to quantify what Messi did naturally. None fully succeeded. How do you measure awe? Rivals forced evolution. To stop Messi, defenses pressed higher, lines squeezed tighter. The counterpress, false nine, and inverted winger, all modern tactical staples, evolved from the necessity of containing him. Even his professionalism set new standards. Teammates recalled that he never skipped training, rarely argued with referees, and focused obsessively on improvement. While others chased endorsements, he chased perfection. He turned consistency into art. 17 seasons, scoring 25-plus goals, over 1-0 direct goal contributions, and records that may stand for generations. But behind those numbers lay a discipline invisible to most early nights: strict diets, relentless repetition. Greatness for Messi was not born, it was built daily. Comparisons and contradictions for decades, debates filled bars and broadcast studios. Messi or Maradona, Messi or Ronaldo, but comparisons missed the essence. Maradona was chaos, Messi order; Ronaldo was thunder, Messi light. What united them all was an unquenchable hunger to define an era. Yet Messi's difference lay in temperament. Where others sought to conquer, he sought to perfect. When asked if he envied Ronaldo's physique or Maradona's charisma, he smiled. "I only know how to play my way." That answer captures his philosophy: mastery without mimicry. Leadership in silence. At Barcelona and Argentina alike, Messi's leadership confounded traditional notions. He wasn't a shouter or enforcer, he led through performance. Teammates said that when he scored early, the dressing room felt calm, as if destiny had already chosen them. He read games like a chess grandmaster, aware of every angle, every teammate's movement. When others tired, he slowed the pace, drawing defenders before slicing a pass between them. It wasn't dominance, it was guidance. During the 2021 Copa America and 2022 World Cup, cameras caught moments that revealed his quiet power, comforting young players, teasing veterans, sharing laughter. He built unity not through speeches, but through presence. That form of leadership, understated yet immense, redefined captaincy for the modern era. The cultural legacy beyond sport, Messi became a metaphor. In literature, he represented divine artistry; in politics, humility in power; in film, perseverance through doubt. Artists painted him as a saint of the poor. Poets compared his dribbling to tango. In Argentina, murals of Messi stand beside those of Evita and Maradona, national icons from different worlds, bound by passion. Churches dedicated to D10S, a wordplay on Dios, God, and his number 10 count thousands of followers who treat him as both symbol and savior. But unlike others who reveled in such worship, Messi deflected it. "I'm just a kid from Rosario who loves football," he reminded fans. That modesty strengthened the myth. The economics of emotion. Every era measures greatness differently. For Messi, it was not market value but emotional value. Clubs, sponsors, and broadcasters earned billions from his presence. Yet his true worth lay in the memories he created: the gasp before a free kick, the silence after a goal, the tears of strangers united in wonder. Sports scientists say adrenaline spikes globally when Messi scores in major tournaments. Psychologists reference him in studies of collective joy. No economist can quantify what it means for a nation to celebrate together after decades of disappointment. Messi reminded the world that football's real currency is emotion. The man and the myth, 2025 and beyond. As retirement looms, Messi continues to play with the same serenity that defined him. Interviews hint at a future in coaching youth academies, perhaps returning to Barcelona in an ambassadorial role. He speaks of wanting to teach kids to enjoy football again. His foundation funds hospitals, schools, and programs for disadvantaged children. He visits projects quietly, without publicity. "I know what it's like to have nothing," he says. "When he finally steps away, the void will be immense. Generations will mark time as before Messi and after Messi. Analysts will revisit his matches like art critics revisiting Rembrandt, searching for brushstrokes they missed. But he himself will likely retreat into family life, content to be forgotten by the noise he transcended." Epilogue. What remains in the end, what makes Messi extraordinary isn't that he won everything, it's how he did it. With grace, humility, and a faith in simplicity, he didn't scream to be remembered, he whispered and was heard across the world. When future historians write about the early 21st century, they will find a planet more divided than united, except, perhaps, when Messi played. For 90 minutes, billions forgot borders, languages, and politics, sharing the same heartbeat. That is legacy. Because long after statistics fade, children will still chase footballs in dusty fields, pretending to be the little man from Rosario. And when they score, they will look up to the sky and raise a finger, not because they knew his grandmother, but because he taught them gratitude. Lionel Messi changed what it means to be great. He turned a gamento poetry, fame into humility, victory into art. He reminded us that even in a noisy world, silence can still speak, and sometimes it can score. He was not loud. He was not larger than life. He was simply Lionel Messi, the quiet genius who made the world believe in miracles again.